At 19 years old, Adeze was on her knees, scrubbing a floor that reflected a life that was never meant to be hers. The tiles were cold beneath her skin. The water in the bucket had already turned gray. And behind her, in a narrow, airless storage room that smelled of stockfish and dust, was everything that remained of the future she had once been promised. 4 years earlier, she had been sent to the city for school. That was the story her parents believed. That was the story her uncle told. That was the story everyone in the village repeated with pride. But in reality, Adeze had never stepped inside a classroom, not once. Instead, she woke up every morning at 4:30 before the rest of the house, before the sun, before even her own thoughts had time to form. She cleaned, she cooked, she washed, she raised children that were not hers, and every single morning she stood at the gate, holding a bucket, watching her uncle's children leave for school. He believed he had taken everything from her time, her education, her voice, her future. But what he didn't know, what no one in that house knew, was that Adeze was not waiting anymore. She was becoming, quietly, relentlessly. And one day, without shouting, without warning, without asking for permission, she would walk out of that gate and never come back. Before we continue, let me ask you something. Have you ever trusted someone and later realized they were the reason your life stood still? If that question hits somewhere deep, take a second to like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe. Because stories like this, they are not just stories. They are happening right now. Back in the village, life was not easy, but it was honest. Adese's father repaired motorcycles under a small zinc shed near the roadside. Her mother sold ground nuts and smoked fish at the market. Between them, they worked harder than most people anyone knew. And yet, there was never quite enough. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough opportunity. But there was one thing they held on to tightly: hope for their children. Adeze was different. From the time she was small, it was obvious. She learned quickly, too quickly. She didn't just memorize things, she understood them. Her teachers noticed. One of them wrote something in her report card once, in red ink. This child must not stop her education. Her parents read that line many times, not because they didn't believe it, but because they didn't know how to make it possible. And then, one December afternoon, Hope arrived in the form of a man in a clean senator outfit, her uncle, Boniface. He came in a car, and in that village, a car meant success. It meant connection. It meant possibility. He greeted everyone loudly, laughed easily, spoke with confidence. And when he sat down in their small living room, he made an offer. "I will take her to the city," he said. "I will put her in a good school. She will live with my family like my own child. She will help a little at home, just small things. And in return, she will get the education you cannot afford." He spoke like a man solving a problem. And maybe that was why no one asked the right questions. Or maybe they were too afraid of losing the opportunity. They prayed about it. They talked late into the night. They looked at Adeze, sitting quietly in the corner, pretending not to listen, even though her entire future was being decided. She wasn't afraid. She was excited. 15 years old and ready to become something more. The night before she left, her mother braided her hair slowly, carefully, as if each braid was a prayer. Her father gave her money, not much, everything he had. "Make us proud," he said. She nodded, and she meant it with everything inside her. The house in the city was bigger than anything she had ever seen. 2 floors, tiled floors, electricity that stayed on longer than it went off, a generator, a television larger than the doorway back home. For a moment, she thought, maybe this is where everything changes. maybe this is where her life begins. But something felt off. She noticed it first in small things. The way her aunt looked at her. Not warmly, not coldly either, but assessing, like she was trying to decide where Adeze fit. The first week passed quietly. She helped where she could, sweeping small areas, washing dishes, taking care of the younger children. She didn't mind. She wanted to be helpful. She wanted to prove she was worthy of the opportunity she had been given. She waited for someone to mention school. No one did. The second week, she waited again. The third week, the housemaid left. No explanation, just gone. And slowly, without announcement, without conversation, Adeze became the replacement. At first, she told herself it was temporary, that they would enroll her soon, that things just needed time. So, she worked. She woke up early. She cleaned thoroughly. She obeyed instructions. She stayed quiet. 2 months passed. Then one day, carefully, respectfully, she asked. Her aunt smiled slightly, the kind of smile that carries no real warmth. "Be patient," she said. "Everything has its time." So Adeze waited, because she believed patience was a virtue, because she believed promises mattered, because she believed adults kept their word. Months became a year became 2, and every morning the same scene played out. The children in uniforms, backpacks ready, shoes polished, laughing as they stepped into the car, and Adeze standing by the gate, holding a bucket, watching, then turning back to a house that did not belong to her. Something changed in the second year, not suddenly, not loudly, but quietly, like a realization that grows slowly until it cannot be ignored. She stopped asking about school, not because she didn't care, but because she understood something painful. No one was planning to send her. So she made a decision. If she could not go to school, then school would come to her. It started with a discarded textbook found behind the house, dirty, missing pages, but still useful. She cleaned it, kept it hidden, and began to study. At night, after everyone had slept, using a small torchlight. At first, it was difficult. Her body was tired. Her mind struggled to focus. But she pushed through. She solved problems slowly, carefully, sometimes wrongly, then corrected herself, then tried again. She filled one notebook, then another, then another. She wrote down words she heard on the radio, looked them up when she could, memorized them, used them in sentences. She built her education piece by piece. No teacher, no classroom, no recognition, just discipline and a quiet refusal to give up. One day, she found something that would change her life. A library. It was not close, 3 bus stops away. On days she had money, she took a bus. On days she didn't, she walked 40 minutes each way. She didn't mind, because inside that building was a world she had been denied. Books, knowledge, silence, possibility. That's where someone noticed her, an older woman, a librarian. She watched Adeze over several visits, the way she read, the way she took notes, the way she approached learning, not casually, but intentionally. One day, she spoke to her and told her about an evening school nearby. That moment was the first real door that opened. Adeze didn't rush. She planned, saved money slowly, quietly, coins from errands, small changes, bit by bit, until she had enough. Then she enrolled. Evening classes, 2 hours a day. For the first time in years, she sat in a classroom, and she didn't just fit in, she stood out. She learned faster than expected, answered questions confidently, asked deeper questions, And soon, people began to notice, including a quiet man who volunteered to teach mathematics. He wasn't impressive at first glance, no loud personality, no dramatic presence, just consistent. He showed up, he taught, he helped. And when he noticed Adese's ability, he didn't praise her. He studied her, asked questions, then said something simple. "I have more books if you want them." That was all. No expectations, no hidden motives, just support. And that changed everything. But good things rarely stay hidden for long. The family found out, not through confrontation, but through observation. And instead of stopping her directly, they did something more effective. They took her time, increased her workload, adjusted her schedule, blocked her evenings, made it impossible to attend class. And when she asked, she was ignored. That's when she understood something clearly. She was never meant to grow in that house. That night, she sat on her mat, opened her notebook, and wrote one sentence: "I am leaving." Not a wish, not a dream, a decision. She didn't argue, didn't explain, didn't fight. She woke up early, did her chores, and when the moment came, she picked up her bag and walked out, calmly, steadily, without looking back. Life was hard, but it was hers. She found a small room, a modest job. She studied relentlessly, wrote her exams, and passed with excellence. Years later, she appeared on television, not as a victim, but as a builder, helping others like her. This story is not about revenge. It is about identity, about knowing your worth even when others try to define it for you. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not to fight, but to walk away and build something greater. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs it. And remember, your life does not belong to the people who tried to limit it. Subscribe for more powerful stories, and I'll see you in the next one.